Okay, so I'm with Abeer and Liam. First time we meet. And this interview, it's been a while since we've done it together, so I was so happy to do it with them. It's very interesting, I think.
We had a great time. It was a really great interview.
And it was the first time we've done one together.
We've never done one together. Talked about things we've never talked about before.
Lots of insider secrets.
If you want to have a healthy, happy marriage, listen. So whoever hasn't subscribed to our channel, please do. We always appreciate your support. If you don't know Abeer or Liam, you don't follow them.
You're going to miss out.
And if you like them today, find them on social media and enjoy their journeys.
Exactly.
We've never done this before.
Yeah, first time we've done an interview together.
So we'll start with Abeer. Women scan it, then they read it. Exactly. We just read.
Did you convert to Islam for me or for yourself?
And I don't say that to be politically correct.
Convinced?
How do you navigate the pain of racism?
Was it an interesting approach to actually get married without still being in love?
You weren't very sure. And then you went to Singapore.
What made you switch in Singapore?
I think a lot of people's illusions about our relationship might be being shattered. They'll be like, oh.
I don't think we ever really talked about this in public before.
Well, yeah, we never had this.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time you were afraid our love wouldn't survive?
Okay, so today I have an interesting couple. I think it will be very interesting because it is something that we know the beauty of the earth we live in is with all the cultures and the backgrounds and the differences and how challenging already marriage is when you're not mixed. So imagine when it's mixed, is it beautiful, is it rich, is it challenging? I was curious, the team was curious. So we have Abeer and Liam. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
It's very simple. I get a backseat and a break in these interviews, so I'll give you questions and you talk to each other. And if I want to third wheel or interrupt, I will. Nice. Cool. So
let's see how it goes.
Let's do it. Very exciting.
And it's the first time that you do both.
Exactly.
We've never done this before.
Yeah, first time we've done an interview together.
I
Exclusive.
love that. Okay. So we'll start with Abeer. Okay. Go ahead.
All right.
You see, like women scan it, then they read it. Exactly. We just read.
If you could go back to the day we met, what would you advise yourself or do differently? Why are you thinking too long about that? Okay, sorry.
I think that I wouldn't advise myself or do anything differently because I think the process of the things I've learned by being with you and the things I've experienced and everything has been, a learning experience and expanding for me. So I feel like if I were to interject and give myself advice and change my course, then, some of those things might not have happened. So I think I'd take a back seat and watch it unfold as it has. It's been a learning experience and expanding and everything else. So,
but were you like awkward or weird the first time you approached her, or you were like cool? Would you advise yourself anything?
Okay, I might have advised myself maybe on the things that I didn't realize for a while were going to be differences, like maybe in the way that I acted or the way that I talked and things, but maybe subtle cultural differences or expectations. But again, these are things that I learned the hard way, which is the best way to learn things. Sometimes, somebody can tell you something, but it won't necessarily be the same lesson. So I wouldn't necessarily change anything. I think it's worked out perfectly. We've grown through difficulty and easiness. So, the difficulty is often the thing that is the most important. So I don't think I would change too much.
Okay. Convinced?
Yeah, I believe him.
Very political answer. Thank you. I do kind of half know the answer to this. Before we met, honestly,
Okay.
it does say honestly, did I look like the man of your dreams?
I told you this before.
Why didn't tell me?
I've told you.
No, I think I manifested Liam.
Really?
I swear to God. Like, I think I kind of like saw you before you came into my life. But not as the person I met that day, but as who you are right now. You know what I mean?
You created me.
I literally think I did because, you know, our whole life, like, you, our kids, it's all things I think that I already kind of saw before and wanted and manifested. So, yeah, you are the man.
What was the man that you would have manifested before meeting him? Like what kind? What was important for your brain to picture?
It was really more like a feeling, like the feeling that this man will make me feel when I'm with him. So I wanted that. I know I wanted that in a partner, like to feel safe, to feel secure, to be able to be myself around him and just say whatever I want to say and be whoever I want to be and not be judged and like really be loved the way I am. And, you know, look-wise, kind of wanted someone who's tall and muscular and handsome.
One thing I will say, which is going to embarrass Abeer, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Can you not?
Is that no, I'm going to. I did. She did have little like cute kind of cartoon photos. Remember on your phone, and you were
Oh
so
my
embarrassed when I
God.
found them. She's going to be embarrassed. She's going to hate me afterwards, but whatever.
Oh my God.
And there was like a little like anime pictures of like a black girl and a blonde guy with a beard and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. She was
I was so
mortified
embarrassed.
that I'd seen it, but she had these kind of. So she'd have a kind of vision board.
I
guess,
kind of
so she's
had
not
a vision
lying.
board of what I
Wow.
wanted. And I didn't
A
even
black
know,
girl
yeah,
and
it
a
was
blonde
crazy.
guy with a beard and stuff like that. I was like, oh baby, that's so cute. She was like, oh no. I'm gonna be in trouble for that. So
Well, you know why I ask? Because when my mother, before she met Mac, her current husband, she's like, if you would have told my mother you'll meet a white guy, blue eyes, but she's like, no way, no way. Like it's not her usual type.
Yeah.
But then she found it all in Mac, and she fell in love with Mac, who's half Scottish, half Egyptian. So it was a beautiful thing. She didn't manifest the look.
Yeah.
But I guess the type of guy,
The
we
type
all
of
love
guy.
him. So but yours is quite
On point.
On
Literally
point.
exactly what I wanted.
with the cartoons and everything.
she's gonna be so embarrassed about
But that's cool. That just backs up what you said.
Yeah.
The manifesting.
Yeah, so she's not just
you
being
know.
she's not just being nice.
Definitely.
Okay, nice.
Cute. Oh, sorry.
Nice. Okay. Okay. This is relevant to what we're saying.
Okay. What's one thing you've learned from being married to a black Arab woman that you didn't expect?
Hair takes a lot more work.
I thought you were going to say something about wigs everywhere.
Hair is more of a feature in my life than I thought it would be. Yeah, I've got appreciation for the amount of effort. Now it's less effort, obviously, but it's still got wigs and everything else. What else? One of the main questions I often get asked is about the differences in culture or race or anything like that, but I feel like it hasn't been as much of a thing as I thought it would be. It's more like, and this is not just to sound politically correct, it's more of an individual thing. So our differences we have are very similar to a difference that anybody would have in a relationship, whether they're both English or they're both of a certain type or they're mixed. A lot of our disagreements are typical man and woman disagreements or husband and wife disagreements. And aside from, I find the cultural differences more interesting, and we have very honest discussions and we have very almost like dark sense of humor when we interact on these kind of subjects. So for me, it hasn't been much of an obstacle.
Yeah.
It hasn't been much of a problem. So yeah, it has been a learning experience in lots of these different ways, but it's more as her as an individual that I've learned to adapt to, which isn't necessarily defined by those kind of categories. And I don't say that to be politically correct. I'm very politically incorrect, so that's just the truth.
That's cool. You agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Until now, you're doing well.
All right. So this one.
You're not close enough to nudge me if I say something wrong either.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. Where am I gonna go?
Stop.
Keep eye contact so you can see the.
Okay. How do you navigate the pain of racism, which unfortunately, as we know, exists everywhere in the world, without letting it consume us?
Well, I think we are perfect for this, me and you, because the way we handle it is just like we laugh about it.
Yeah, with humor.
And we think it's funny that people think that way, and we don't really let it consume us. It never happened. We never let it consume us. We teach our children that we're actually, see, I think the thing is that both of us are kind of, I don't want to say the wrong word, but we do love ourselves. So I love myself the way I am, and you love yourself the way you are. And we have pride in it. And it's beautiful because I can be proud of who I am and how I look, and you're proud of who you are and how you look. And we teach that to our children, to be proud of themselves and how they look. And it doesn't matter what people say. We don't even think about race in that way. It's just like, it's a different, I don't know. I don't think we ever let it consume us. I don't think we ever let it hurt our feelings or anything like that.
No,
it's just funny to us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it definitely humor is the key there, because we have a very honest understanding of it, if that makes sense.
And we talk about it all the time, but not in a... I think people would be shocked if they hear us talking about this subject.
Yeah.
Like, they'll be shocked about the way we think of it and how we deal with it. because we actually, I think it's better because we don't care about negative things people say.
Yeah.
And you're confident, and that's important.
Definitely, like, even I've witnessed some like crazy, ignorant statements and so on and so forth. And we've been in countries where we've even heard like Arab speakers that didn't know she spoke
the language,
Arabic and everything. And even to this point now, we kind of we laugh at how outrageous it is that somebody lives with that kind of way of thinking in their mind.
Yeah.
Often to the point where they'll say something very offensive without even while thinking it's a compliment a lot of the times. And it just kind of, we're both just like, what? Like, how are these people living like this? So literally, often it will actually end up being a kind of amusing anecdote that we end up laughing about. Which is a much better way of dealing with it. You just think that a lot of the time, not to speak for Abeer, but a lot of the time it's the real negative thing is them living in that limited mind space. So it's kind of funny to see them kind of out themselves for the way they speak. And it doesn't necessarily say anything about her or me or our relationship or anything. If they have an opinion of it, that's just their limited opinion. So laughing at it is often the best approach.
Yeah,
was it always something that you responded to by laughter or making it funny or light, or you had to reach there?
What do you think?
I think I had to reach to that point. Like, maybe when I was a bit younger, it would get to me, and I'd even like try to like change, my appearance a little bit, or not talk about it. If somebody says something offensive to me and to my face, I would just like ignore it or laugh about it or whatever, even if it hurt me. But I think as I matured, I became more like, are you okay? To the person who'd say that to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I started kind of feeling sorry for them. I think as I grew my confidence in myself, it made me like, it's unshakable now. You can't say something to me that will make me feel like, oh, I wish I was different. So I had to build it, and I think maybe you really, you definitely like supported me do that without even realizing, with your reaction to racism and how you think about it. And I think I became more like you in the way we laugh about it.
Even our humor amongst each other is very politically incorrect and so on. So if we, we're able to tease each other and use that subject and everything that's not, which is why she said if somebody were to overhear our conversations, they'd be like, what the hell? So that helps. It means like, you know, it means that we already play in that space, so to speak. So when somebody else says it, it's like they're making a funny joke, but they don't realize that they're funny.
They don't realize it's funny.
Yeah, they're actually being serious, which makes it even funnier, you know, a lot of the time, which is a pretty good thing
would
to have, I think.
Would it be as easy if there, because now I think both of you have built a certain level of endurance to ignore any negative racist comments. I think with age and maturity, and you have hopefully a solid connection. But if it's addressed to your children, would that be as easy?
No.
Well, I mean, it's not as easy, but we have had, like, you know, there's a post somewhere on my Instagram of comments from people talking about breeding and ruining your genetics and giving your children just insane levels of like the highest level of bigotry. And again, obviously, if somebody were to say it to me in person, it would be a different thing. But you have, you know, I can't get too upset about something online because where's it going to go, you know? Right. And often what they want is that sort of response, and it makes them feel validated. So to kind of belittle them for their opinions is the best thing to do. Obviously, if somebody were to say it in person, it would be a different thing. But no, we've had those sort of comments, like 100%. People, even somebody messaged my sister saying, "Oh, your brother has ruined his genetics by mating with a black man." It's like, people are insane, like insane online. Yeah.
So for me, I think I want to protect my sons from hearing things like this now because they're young, and it doesn't really matter, but to me, but I think we still don't know how the way they think or the way, you know, their brains are going to work. So what if someone said something to Aiden or Kian that made them think, oh yeah, because right now they don't see color. Like, remember when you asked them, we had like photos of different people with different like skin colors, and Liam said, he pointed to the black guy and he said, "Who does this look like?" And Aiden said, "This one looks like Daddy because he's tall." He didn't think about color. Wow. So I think that's amazing, but I've cut out so many people from my life because they say, you know, racist things in conversation without realizing they're racist, just because I don't want my kids to grow up thinking in that way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the tough thing is they will hear it.
They definitely will hear it, but we need to prepare them.
Aywa. So I'll give you a small example. My brother Tariq was adopted by my mother, and his origins are South Asian. So I think it's between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. So he's darker than me. And we're already brown, and he's browner. And I knew this kid, when he's going to go to school, people will say, "How are you, Anas' brother or Harith's brother?" And oh, you look this or you look that. So I'm like, Habibi, when you're going to go to school, people will say shit. So what I want you to do is you acknowledge. If somebody says, you don't look like you're from here, you say, yeah, well, my passport is from here, but originally I'm from Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, but I'm blessed with a great family. Like, own it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the moment you own it, I have nothing on you as a bully.
Yeah, you take the power away.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. If somebody says, for a helmet, I don't know why I always say my nose, but fuck it, no. So if somebody goes, Anas, you have a very small nose, and a big nose. And I'm like, no, it's small. It's not. It's not small. We have it in our families. It's long. It's a very Arabic, whatever nose, right? But you own it. Once I say, yes, no, it's long, I like it.
Yeah, nobody can attack you for it.
What can you do now? Yeah. But if I start to be insecure, like, no, it's not that, you know.
Then they bully you even more for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the thing is, our kids are too young now.
Yes.
They can't do that for themselves. So now it's our job to protect them from that. But I think as they get older, they're definitely going to be like us.
Yeah, because we both have quite it's self-assured. I would just call it arrogance, but you know, I think they're definitely going to be like, you know, empowered in their sense of self. You know, so I don't think that they will necessarily hopefully won't feel too victimized by other people's opinions and stuff. And like you say, just teaching them to own it and turn it around on people, and just, you know, take the power away from people having negative opinions.
Yeah, beautiful.
Very cool.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of, I'll tell you something that was very interesting to see. So I did the DNA test maybe 7 years ago or so.
Ooh.
And it was so fucking mixed. It was beautiful to see how mixed my heritage is.
Wow.
You know, it was from everywhere. I'm like, wow, they really fucked around. They went everywhere, you know? So I'm looking at this and I'm like, how interesting that my blood is everywhere. And I'm like, who dares claim that they're purely from one region?
Yeah,
Nobody.
there's no such
Nobody,
thing.
you can't.
Yeah, there's
So
no
when you
such
look
thing.
at the stats, you're like, what are you all talking about? Any racist person. If I take your blood and do a DNA test, we have a very different conversation.
Exactly.
So it's a beautiful thing to see how the world is, I think, much better now than maybe 50 years ago.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But you see this beauty of mixed culture, mixed people, and I love it. Like I see it and I see so much beauty. Like your children are an example of beautiful cultures merging, you know, in a human.
Yeah, exactly. It's so
So
interesting.
they have the best of both of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like it's when you look at them, it's like I don't know if it's just because they're my kids. But even before, I told you before we got married and before we were together, I used to look at these pictures of little mixed kids and I'm like, oh my god, this is so cute.
Yeah, even
You know,
on one of
because
her
they
old
have-
Instagram, she used to share pictures of mixed babies. So yeah, again, she's manifesting the whole thing. But it's just, I even say it's so interesting that you think about like how different, you couldn't get people who are more different culturally, racially, genetically, or whatever than us. And you think about a couple of 100 years ago where our ancestors were living and now they've gone all the way for like, what are the chances? So it makes it so unique and interesting. Not to say that people who are the same race mixing isn't interesting, everything's interesting, but just that difference of, you know, from complete different areas of the world, cultures, everything, and just combining to create two children who are just, you know, yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good topic, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've fully talked about it at length so many times.
Yeah,
it's,
so
it's
many
helped us
times.
come
So
to terms with
important.
the whole idea as well. You know?
Yeah, it's so important because it's not fair. You will get derogatory comments on somebody who doesn't even know you or what's between you.
Yeah.
I saw one of your interviews where you read the comment in Arabic. It was soda بس حلوة.
It's hello.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
somebody complimented. They're thinking what you said.
They think it's a
thinking
compliment.
It's a compliment. Like,
I
ah,
should do it.
thanks.
We've seen that in person so many times, and I've just
Literally.
been like, I'm not going to shout at the guy, just laugh and like whatever, you know.
And they don't mean it.
Yeah, exactly. They think they're being nice.
They think they're being nice. That's the thing. They're like, that's why you need to educate.
Yeah, we definitely
Speak out. That's
and
why I
think
always do
this
that on my
conversation
platform.
is for that also, you know. The more
For
we
sure.
need to talk about it openly, I hope to never be zero.
It's better than before.
صح.
Honestly, like since I started social media, today I can say it's better than like 7 years ago. Much better. There's a big difference in the way people talk and the way people handle themselves. This new generation is amazing.
Very aware.
Very aware. They're taking over. So it's awesome.
Third question to Abeer.
They're getting better, aren't they?
Okay.
It's spicier.
Did you convert to Islam for me or for yourself?
At first, it was a pragmatic choice necessary because of the whole situation. And then over time, you know, came to terms with different aspects of it and religious ideas, which I have, you know, myself. You know, that's how I came to terms with the idea of doing something when I wasn't 100%. I didn't 100% understand the decision, but I knew it was necessary to be together, and then just allowed kind of life to fill in the rest, and God to fill in the rest of my understanding and everything else. So initially, yeah, it was for you.
Going to heaven now.
Yeah, over time, it's become more of a personal thing. Yeah.
But you know, one, thank you for being so honest. Both of you, I'm enjoying that you guys are frank and just you, which I like. And the show likes that, the audience likes that. Secondly, I think gradual change is healthy, sustainable change.
For sure.
You know, it's like somebody who stops, he was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day and then suddenly they stop. Usually my bet is not on them.
Yeah,
Like in
rebounds.
2 months, they will have a rebound.
Yeah, I wouldn't want him to come to me and be like, yeah, I'm 100% convinced I want to be a Muslim now. And I wanted, because then I wouldn't even believe him. And I like that you're honest with that. Even with my family, he was honest. and he said that he will do it, and he will learn, and you were committed to that, and you were reading the Quran, and you were learning things, and you're going to the mosque. So that was really good. And you're not the type of person that would do something you're not convinced
Yeah.
with.
Would you agree that some of the best decisions we've done in our lives are the ones that you're never 100% sure?
Yeah, especially when it comes.
Getting married was an insane decision.
It was literally, we didn't have the fairy tale like I couldn't live without this decision kind of thing. We're both very frank about it that we kind of.
Do you want to get married?
Let's see. And then it worked out really well. And also having children, like we talk about this, which might be a part of the question, but. We're never ready for something. So, for example, with children, we're saying, I want to have this, business, I want to have a house, I want to be stable and everything else. But then now I wouldn't reverse the decision for anything. So, like you say, a lot of the decisions aren't necessarily something that you're 100% convinced on. You just have to make a decision, and things will become clear over time.
Yeah.
Especially for me, the defining example of that is having children, because I was saying we're not ready. We talk about this a lot, but saying we're not ready, you become ready by doing the thing, especially when it comes to kids. Yes. And I wouldn't reverse that decision. So definitely,
Yeah, I agree, man. Like, when are you? The question is, when people say I'm not ready, are you actually deep down, if we just go through the funnel of your brain, are you just afraid?
Yeah.
Are you just insecure of your capabilities? Because if you're a competent human being that's generally responsible, that's making some money, you figure shit out.
Yeah. I think it's just the illusion that you can be ready for something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an illusion. Like, I don't know if I should marry her. I'm not sure.
I think for us it was because we kind of thought at the time that we were not, or maybe, okay, I don't know how to say that, but we were not responsible and we were not mature enough.
We still aren't. So.
And we still aren't. And we were making money, but we were spending it like in a second. And so having kids and having this whole and getting married was an insane idea. But I think once all that got thrown on us, we had to become responsible.
Yeah, you grow up quickly.
Yeah, and we had to be, exactly. So if we didn't do all these things, we would still be like in Bali, just chilling.
And plus, you can't make yourself change in the way that being a parent makes you change anyway. It's not like you can do it in advance. Like, let me become a dad and then I'll have kids. Like, this is not how it works.
Yeah,
It's so foreign, even as a mother, I wouldn't know, but as a father, it's such a foreign emotion. It's so alien, because if you never had a child of your own before, you want me to demonstrate that shit? You want me to demonstrate I play sometimes with this. Okay. Names of your kids.
Aiden and Kian.
Adrian?
Aiden and Kian.
And Kian. Okay. You know how they look like, you can imagine them. So let's say you're walking, all of you, in a supermarket, and both of them are running, and then you see just a guy come and grab his hair and he throws him on the floor.
That guy's dead.
So now if we zoom this on you, you look at your hair on your hands, you look at your face, your blood is in your face already, and you're white, so it helps, I guess. Exactly. But you see what I mean? I just made up a story, and you can see as a male father how... Look, I'm not even the father of your son, and I could feel it. It's only when you're... Man, look.
That's crazy.
Only when you're a father, you really... He's a father, he would get... Like you, it's inside us to protect and to kill.
Yeah.
So it's so beautiful from one side, and scary. And I don't know, there's a beauty to it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I had this conversation with my friend recently when, I always understood intellectually the idea of, I would die for my children, but I didn't think it was such an obvious thing. It'd be like, they wouldn't be a question. Like, if they fell in a volcano, there's only a 1% chance you can save them and you're going to die. We're like, well, I guess I'm dying. It's literally wouldn't even be a question. I always understood it as a kind of like, you should die for your children, but I didn't realize that it was such a...
You want to.
Yeah, such an inherent and obvious, for me anyway. idea of like, yeah, even if it was for a small chance of saving their life, you know.
And imagine us as men are saying this. Mothers are even more powerful
Well,
in this.
even
Like
more.
they would literally lift a car, and you see all these crazy stories how a mother did something crazy just to protect a child. And I think it's the only close to and sometimes unconditional love we could ever experience.
I think that's the only unconditional love we can ever experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's crazy. And I'm like you, and I've repeated the story about going to Switzerland with my sons. And since the camera is straight today, you can see it. This is from literally the moment of thinking, if I just had to sell the idea of, yeah, of course I'll defend my kids. This was my kid falling in front of me on a bicycle, and I was speeding just because I saw he was losing control on a steep hill. And I'm like, shit, he's gonna fall. So I'm just going fast, and then he falls. And there's, like, he would fall, he could go down. So then he falls in front of me, and I'm going to hit him now. So without thinking, I go super full brake, like everything. So my bike goes, whoop, and I fly, and I miss him. Thankfully, my bike goes over his head, falls, and then I don't even know. Literally, the adrenaline is so high. And I'm like, are you okay? And he's crying. And then he goes, Baba, your leg. And I look at him, zero. And my skin was complete, like all bone. So this is with the stitches. It's this ugly, by the way. So
my God.
my point is, that's the moment where I'm like, we're great as fathers. Like, it's in us. Like, you don't you literally don't think. Because I'm too logical. I would have been like, yeah, if I fall in this situation, I'll decide whether to break or not.
Yeah.
It was zero decision.
Yeah, wow.
Full so.
Wow, oh my God. Well, thank God nothing that drastic ever happened to us. But the only thing I can remember happening to us when we just had Aiden, and we lived in an apartment building at the time. And we were in the elevator, and the elevator stopped all of a sudden. Remember when it dropped? I'm khawafa. I don't know how to say that in English, but I'm scared of everything.
I was going to say, it doesn't mean dramatic.
I'm dramatic, yeah.
More coward.
So if something like that, yeah, I'm like a coward. So if something like this happened to me, usually I'm scared for myself.
Yeah.
But at that moment, the only thing I could think of, okay, what if I die now? What will happen to Aiden? We were together,
he wasn't
and
in the lift with her.
He wasn't with us. He was in the house with my mom, right? But I was literally like, even though my mom was with him, I was so scared for him, not for myself. And that's when I was like, oh, okay. I think because he was just like 3 months old or something. But that's when my mom instinct were like, okay, I'm a mom now.
It's crazy, scary, it's beautiful, but it's intrinsic. Like it comes in a second. And it changes perspective of life. Like before, it'd be so self-centered.
Exactly, yeah.
And then suddenly it's actually not only about you anymore. You know, it's some new creature that by nature you love more than yourself.
Yeah, it's crazy. I like Abeer says as well, thinking about what would happen if something happened to us, or if we died or anything, God forbid. And now even when I'm on holiday in Thailand or something, I used to just ride around carelessly without a helmet on, and I wouldn't wear a seatbelt. I didn't have. It wasn't like I was trying to die, but now I think like before I get on a scooter, I'm like, I need to put a helmet on, I need to be responsible. And I was thinking, what was my baseline before having kids? Like apparently I was just careless, and now it's made me responsible. It's like, no, I need to actually stay alive now. And I wasn't nihilistic before. I was still trying to stay alive, but now it's just interesting that it's just up to my baseline of responsibility, even for myself, just by extension. It's interesting. Yeah,
it is and I don't think we can explain it so much. We're just experiencing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's nice. Okay, third.
You have to give looks every time.
The tension of the questions is good.
Okay.
When was the first moment you realized that you truly loved me? Has it happened already? It's in the past, yeah.
The first moment I realized I truly loved you. Well, I feel like there are lots of moments where I'm like, oh, I love this guy. But the one that I'm thinking of right now
the first one, you're like, shit, I'm in love. You know that one?
Yeah. The thing I'm thinking of right now is when we had Aiden. Like, because we've been married 2 years at that point, and when we first got married, we weren't really in love, to be
No.
like we both know that. We got married because we wanted to be together, and when we had Aiden, it was COVID, and it was just me and you in Dubai for the first time, and we didn't know anybody, and you were there for me through everything. And then when we had him in the hospital, it was just me and you, no family, nobody. And you took care of me and you took care of him. He was literally so much better with Aiden than I was, which was crazy. Like, I was so scared of holding my own baby, and you're like a natural father to him. And I guess in that moment, I was like, wow, like I can't live without this guy. I think that's one of the biggest moments where I realized I love you so much.
Love you too.
That's so beautiful. Now you made me curious though. Was it an interesting or a healthy or a risky approach to actually get married without still being in love? Because it's kind of foreign to an audience. They think it's a prerequisite to being with someone, you know? Is it a prerequisite?
We loved each other, but I don't think we were, because we didn't know each other that much, that well. And we knew, like, I told you this. Remember I told you this? When we first started seeing each other, I said, I think God brought you in my life for me, like on purpose. I knew that I was meant to be, I don't know, I just knew I was meant to be with him. You weren't very sure. And then you went to Singapore. And then when you were in Singapore, you called me and you're like, okay, let's get married. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Like, when you went to Singapore, I thought it would be over. Because khalas, like I live in Saudi Arabia. He's British. He came to Saudi for a month or two, and then he went to
I
Singapore.
lived there for a year.
Not a whole year, really?
So when I lived it,
A whole year in Saudi?
you mean a year or two? I was there for a year in Saudi.
year or two,
Yeah, we were
okay.
together for 8 months. in
8
Saudi.
months, yeah. Okay. Anyway, not so long. Yeah, it's not a long time.
It wasn't a long period of time, anyway.
Yeah, you left, and I was like, "Khalas, it's over. Like, why would you?" There's so many other girls in Singapore, but you still wanted to be with me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like. I think it was just both of us feeling that we wanted to continue this relationship. It was interesting. We felt something when we were together.
Yeah.
And with time, it became love. And I think, I don't know, it's the best type, because I think this one is lasting. I think it's forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was also, before under the kind of impression that you have to have some sort of storytale love to get married.
Yeah.
But now I even understand, although obviously ours wasn't an arranged marriage, I even understand that sort of, when you hear somebody say, somebody's mother say to them, like, oh, you marry somebody, then you learn to love them over time. And in past, I used to think, like, why would you, it doesn't make no sense. But now it makes sense. And it's not to say that ours was like, we didn't know each other that much.
But we chose each other, which is the important thing.
Yeah, exactly.
More important than love is very important, but we chose each other and we keep choosing each other, because if we decide not to be together, then there's so many other options, but we both don't want that. We both want each other.
Yeah.
What made you switch in Singapore?
I left Saudi.
Not why did you go to Singapore? Why in Singapore you wanted her? You were like, no, I want her.
It's interesting because it's like whenever, I mean, she knows anyway, but whenever I tell the story, it sounds unromantic. So I was thinking about it, and I was literally on the fence in a literal sense, like 50-50ing it, like, okay, what's the, there's the pros and cons and everything. And I think the turning point, shout out to my friend Iris, the turning point when I was asking my different friends, what's your opinion? Obviously, nobody can tell you your opinion. Nobody can tell you what to do. You can only know for yourself. But I remember when my friend said, like, well, think about it. If you're on the fence, at the very least, it's going to be a very interesting chapter in the story of Liam. And I was like, yeah, okay. So that was the tipping point for me. Because obviously I wanted to be with her and I didn't want to lose her. That was obviously the motivation for even thinking about it in the first place. Obviously, if I wasn't attached to the idea of being with you, then it wouldn't have been a decision, right? It wasn't a decision about other things. But I was thinking, like, okay, do I want to get married, or I'm going to live here? Then she's going to have to come here, and it's going to be a whole thing. But I also don't want to be without her, and I was trying to think of it in that terms. And then for me, when my friend said that, I was thinking, like, okay, yeah, what's the worst case scenario? I'd have learned something, and it would be again, you know, an interesting worst case scenario.
I
You remember that
literally-
time I married a girl from Saudi and it didn't work out. So, you know, it was kind of like that. Now
I literally had
it's
the
much
same
more
conversation
romantic.
with my cousin,
Now
you
I
know?
do genuinely love her, so it's not bad.
Great,
now, I can
amazing.
be honest.
But I literally had the same exact
Like,
conversation with my cousin before marrying him. She was like, "Are you sure you want to get married and move to Singapore?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's the worst that could happen?" And she was like, "Well, you get divorced." I was like, "Yeah, it's fine." So literally, like, we both did it in that way. We got married like that.
So a love story.
Yeah, but we fell in love afterwards.
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
find
beautiful.
it so interesting. Yeah, I see it as a good thing, not a bad thing. I think it's more mind over heart
Yeah.
decision. Like, okay, the components of this human seems very compatible. I like them. I'm attracted to them. Let's fucking try.
Yeah,
And
let's
you
try.
And a lot of the time, what people think is like the ultimate form of love is actually some form of passion or some form of, you know, even delusion or obsession or something. It's not always a positive emotion that people associate with, I can't live without this person. Whereas if you can kind of take a step back and be like, okay, I'm capable of thinking about it A, B, C, D, and make a decision based on that, I think it's, you know, it's often more likely to be sustainable. A lot of people's relationships start with fire and then die out, you know. And ours still started with fire, but it just wasn't, you know, what we would call unconditional love from the beginning in a kind of, you know, Love Actually story kind of sense, running after her on the plane or something. But yeah, and it was, you know.
I want that now,
worked out.
though.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks.
We keep upping the romance. We're more romantic now than we were then.
We
which is
are.
actually, so
We
it's
are.
kind of an inverse curve. Most people start very romantic and then drop down. We're just slowly getting more romantic, so it's sustainable. I don't know.
That's
It's working,
cool.
it's working
I
so
think
far.
it is, yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Works for us.
Yeah, I think a lot of people's illusions about a relationship might be being shattered. They'll be like, "Huh,
Yeah,
it wasn't what I imagined."
I think
it was like a whole
it's good to
Cinderella
talk
thing.
about this
I
other
don't think we've ever really
perspective.
talked about this in public
No,
before.
exactly. Well, yeah, we never had this.
Yeah.
It's such a good topic because it seems we approach relationships in an extremely one-dimensional way, as if there's no other way to fall in love. Like you said, they start with all these sparks and fireworks, and then how many people do we know that are divorced?
Yeah,
How many people
exactly.
are staying but not happy? It's scary. Like if we really do the stats on it, it's actually horrific and scary. And then you have to, it's a very normal question. When you see 10 couples, 8 divorced, and God knows how many unhappy together, right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So we know there's an issue. So you take a step back and you're like, okay, let's understand what is happening. Why is it failing to this degree? If it was 50-50, I'll be like, fine. Why 60, 70, 80%? And then you have to think about, are they pragmatic? Are they logical when they make these decisions? Are they, and there's something I really like, it's, do you like the person? Not love them.
Yeah.
Do you even like them?
Yeah,
That's very important. I think we were friends, like, which is very important in a relationship, is to be friends with your husband, because I can spend my whole life just with him alone and I'm not going to be bored. I'm not going to want to be with somebody else. And even if we're together and we're not doing anything and he leaves, I'm like, can you just come back and sit here? Even if we're not doing anything. I just like having him around me. And I think it's important. And that was the base of our relationship. And then everything kind of
It's so
spiraled.
important. It's so important because everything else can mellow. The sparks and the craziness and you know what's crazy? I don't want to sound negative because there's a positive side to this. When I say it mellows, it doesn't mean your relationship necessarily loses spice. When you're really good friends, like you really like each other, her quirks, her funny comments, her sarcasm, her talent, you're more turned on. You're more switched on with this human. Everything about them turns you on because you really like them and you're comfortable. So your romance can go up, your communication can go up, you as parents can be better because your kids are looking at you and they're like, wow, they're such a cool team, you know, like how he's always joking with mama and mama's laughing and that's what you want the definition of love to be in the perspective of our children, not a dry...
It's like the comments of your friends in Bali.
Yeah, we always get comments, even before we were married, but and since people have been saying that, you know, one time we were kind of messing around. It was at this retreat in Bali, like cliffside, like a beautiful place. And somebody came up to who I didn't know and was saying, like, I just wanted to say, because I heard you guys are married, like you have such like a childlike love with each other and it's such like an amazing thing. And I really hope I have that one day. And I was like, I was trying to dunk
To
her
drown me.
in an ice bath. I was trying to get in a nice mouth and laughing, and then she was like, "Get away from me!" Blah blah. And they were like, "It's so funny to see a married couple like that." I was like, "I was being childish, but okay." But it's good to be able to be childish together because it means that, you know, like you say, that kids will see us and be like, "Oh, I can be with somebody for 20, 30 years and still laugh and still have fun and everything." Whereas you get a lot of people who are kind of like become cold or distant or whatever. But yeah, I think we still have basically childlike qualities, and we can still mess around, and we're always laughing with each other and everything, and that rubs off on our kids. So yeah, it's definitely a good thing.
I speak of, I truly believe this, you know, and I speak of it often. When a woman is really in love, no matter how tough she is out the outside and how independent and how strong, at home she becomes a little girl that wants to laugh, wants to joke, wants to be a princess, wants to be spoiled, no matter how tough your girl is outside. And I think the same applies to us men, where you are outside, you're a boss, you fire people, you hire people, you do all of this responsible shit, and you have your serious mask, you're stern. But when you want to be a dork too. You want to be silly. So when you want to be silly, you want her to get it. You want to be like, you want to bully her. Like you said, I dunked her. Like, you want to be playful. And I think only when us men are really feeling safe and that we're actually in love with a woman, and safe, not only in love because you're attracted. No, there's a safety there that just be you.
You can be who you want to be.
And that's where you are playful.
Yeah, true.
You're a kid.
Exactly, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, very true.
So it seems you guys cracked that, which is nice.
Yeah, no.
Okay. 4.
What's the most hurtful thing I've ever said or done to you, and how did you heal from it?
I don't think there's any one specific event. I think maybe over time in the past when I didn't feel, you know, that you understood me or took time to understand me, or that, you know, maybe you weren't, understanding me in the way that I wanted to be understood, or appreciating me in the way I wanted to be appreciated, or seeing me for seeing me, you know. I think it's more like a gradual process than a specific event. But now over time, you've recognized that it was important for me, for you to, you know, understand me when I say certain things, or see a certain side of me or whatever. Nothing specific, just as a general kind of thing.
I think when we got together and first got married, I changed a lot since then, I think. I grew a lot, and maybe then I was more of like a, you know, spoiled girl that wants to get what she wants and like, didn't even understand you or what you do or what you're passionate about. I thought you're passionate about, you know, jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. And I thought it was just like whatever, like exercise. It doesn't matter. But it's like the most important thing to you, to be better and like do more, and it's literally your career. And maybe the way I was with you was kind of like childish from my part, because I was like still acting like a teenager at that point, like get upset about things that I shouldn't really get upset from. And I think with time, like that changed a little bit. I'm trying still to change it to get better.
Yeah, I think it was just like maybe not, maybe giving the impression that you didn't appreciate the aspects of myself that I appreciate about myself.
Yeah.
Like a typical example is that she often refers to me as being philosophe. When I consider one of my strongest qualities being philosophe, being philosophical, or being, you know, poetically minded or whatever. But for her, it's kind of like a. So, you know, obviously that's like a light-hearted example.
I would just joke about that. I do appreciate. No, I do. I swear. I do.
Yeah, but yeah. So it's just over time, I just heard us kind of understanding me and appreciating me a bit more, as opposed to like, you know, a single knife in the heart event. So yeah, say that.
Okay.
And that's where, you know, I often bring up the talk on love languages. How important it is to recognize what's important to the other party, mother, father, brother, son, partner. once you understand the 5 love languages and you're like, so that's what you tell her, this is what really fills my love tank, and what does fill yours? I really want you, Liam, to say words to me. It's nice to hear a good morning. It's not, so then you know that's the most thing that matters, and then maybe physical, quality time, whatever. I think once we teach people that, you understand love a bit differently. One son might not care about your words, but he cares about quality time with dad. So then you're like, I prioritize that for my son because it makes him feel loved. This is so important. Like also, I think a lot of men will talk about, I never felt seen or never felt appreciated. It's such a common issue for men in relationships where they are not feeling their masculine energy or the respect that they hope to find. And maybe the girl is showing, but not in the language that's making
That he wants to. Yeah.
But that's so important, I think.
We talk about this, don't we?
Yeah, that's something I think is with the frame of the love languages thing is that Abeer will often respond much more to me saying something in a certain way, whereas I find it very difficult to say something if I don't 100% believe it. You know,
And like,
as we
just
say in
lie to
England,
me. It's
blow
okay,
smoke
lie
up
to me.
someone's ass. Yeah,
Say
yeah, but
something nice.
she'll be like, oh, even if you didn't mean it, you should say it. I'm like, I don't really say stuff I don't mean. Like, if somebody's fishing for a compliment from me and I don't think, I'll just go around it. I'll be like, yeah, one day maybe you'll, you know, and they're like, oh, do you think I've got a lot of talent? Like, just keep, you know, I just won't give somebody something that they're fishing for. I don't know if this is something about my personality. Whereas she responds very much to words of affirmation.
Where's it?
See, you say it like that, see. But I'm trying. I just do it sometimes. Like in England, we call it blowing smoke up someone's ass, which basically means complimenting someone for the sake of making them feel better. And I just cannot do it. I just find it impossible. Whereas she's like, even if you told her, I'm about to do that, I don't mean it. She'd be like, go ahead.
I'll tell you how to look at it differently, because I'm like him in this. If somebody says I miss you and I don't miss them back, I never say I miss you too. If somebody says I love you and I actually don't feel it at that moment or time, I will not say it. And I know people will think it's harsh, but I'll tell you the other perspective.
Okay.
When I fucking say it, they will feel it in their bones. Because they'll know this guy
Look, that
is not a seller of words.
100%. I agree, but I think you shouldn't be like that with your wife. You can be like this with everybody else in
She's
the
just
world.
like, I agree, just not in relation to me.
Exactly.
No, I agree.
100%, just not right now.
It's a tricky one. But the problem is then, do you ever know when they actually mean it? If they
Exactly, yeah, it means nothing. You get this with a lot of people in Bali, is that they'll say so many nice flowery things, but then their actions don't back it up, and you're like, oh, it's because they were putting on a front. They're saying something that they think they want you to hear.
Yeah.
So then I think from my reference, like, oh, they must mean this, because for me to say that, I must genuinely mean it. But then you find out they don't, and then there's a kind of disconnect. So like you say, if you say it, it's going to mean something. If I tell someone I think they did really well, it's because I think they did really well, not because
I stand by what I just said. You can be like that with everybody else in the world. Just
we'll give you special treatment, okay?
Okay.
And for us logical men, what you can do is what she said, you can actually oblige, because you can always base it on, I actually love this woman. So any compliment that I'm going to give is rooting out from this foundation.
Yeah, it's in the service of a greater good.
It works for you. We're trying to find solutions.
I'll find out some way
Keep
I
that
can
in
have more words of affirmation.
Okay.
Cute. Well, I know the answer to this is several times, but was there ever a time you were afraid our love wouldn't survive? What made you hold on?
So obviously, like every married couple, we always have we argue and we fight and we break up and we get back together. But in my heart, like really, even if I say something or if you say something, I still always believe that we'll definitely end up together, that we'll die together and we'll be together forever. And I already told you that, but you know that. I literally saw it also, manifesting it.
But that's something that you've become more sure of recently, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, relatively recently.
Well, yeah. But, before, of course, especially when we first got married. Okay, our first year of marriage.
Was like, there's a good chance this isn't going to...
Our first year of marriage, I was actually sure that we're not going to stay together.
Me too.
Yes, our first year of
matter
marriage.
of time.
But then the amount of times we literally broke up and then we got back together for no other reason than us wanting each other. Like literally everything that's logical would have told us to
On
leave each
paper,
other.
it'd be like,
Like why are we still together? There was no reason for us to stay together, and we kept choosing each other. We kept choosing each other. We kept choosing, even though it was at some points very, very difficult. So now I'm sure that was definitely meant to be. And now, like, if you ask me with like, a gun to my head, I'll be like 100%. We're never leaving each other. We're gonna be together forever.
Question. You said that you would literally break up and then come back together. If you said that to somebody maybe outside, they're like, hey, if you keep breaking up, it's just a sign that it's not compatible. So don't force it.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
With some relationships, maybe. But for us, like even at the points where we actually since the day I met him till this day, there was never a day that went by when we didn't talk. Even when we were broken up, we would still talk. He'd say like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like, wait, why do you want to know what I'm doing? Didn't you just leave me? So we were always kind of still on each other's minds. With some people, it's different. In some other relationships, people would be like, "Khalas," they break up and go do something else and come back together. I don't know.
yeah,
But
also
for us,
depends on the reason for breaking up.
yeah, for us, it was always silly at the
It's
beginning.
because we're also both
Stubborn.
impossible.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, she's obviously more impossible than I am, but it's definitely when we're both in a heated argument, the chances of one of us yielding is basically zero. So
It's
it's like,
zero.
well, I guess that's it then. Guess we're going to break up. Fine, let's do it. I don't care. And then the next day, like, all right, we might have been a little bit hasty, but that's the reason for us breaking up is basically just being too
it's
difficult
usually,
and stubborn for each other.
I think we have the same kind of what's the word? What's the word? When we love the same things and we have the same
Morals, values.
Values. Yeah.
we have the same morals. We have the same values, and I think that's a good base for things. When people break up, it's usually because they kind of disagree on a value or something really big that we can't be together, because if you don't believe in what I believe in, if you don't want to do life the way I want to do life, then we can't be together. We don't have that.
No, exactly.
We argue about
That's
dumb
such
stuff.
a good point. Yeah, because يعني نقول بالعربي الأساسيات.
أساسياتنا واحدة, exactly.
The main foundation is aligned.
Yes, that's
The
it.
main values, the governing values are aligned. So then everything else can be petty, or you can adjust, fine tune. It's not a main core value, not a core value.
Exactly. We have the same core values,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
which is very important.
That's so important for couples that want to be together. This is where a lot of them miss out. When people are young, they look for the guy or the girl that are opposite to them. Like, I go out, I'm attracted to the wild guy because she's not, right? And you're attracted because it's foreign to you, it's new. But then all the core values
Are different.
conflicting.
Exactly, yeah.
And if you just approach it again with the pragmatic view that, okay, we have similar sense of life, similar sense of values, this is how we want to live, I think you have a much higher chance.
True.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely.
Okay, final question already?
Ooh, look at that.
Yalla.
No, I'm gonna cry. Okay, if this was the last time we see each other, what would your last words be to me?
Would be to say thank you for helping me become better. And thank you for giving me amazing children. And thank you for giving me your time and love and everything else. And just to say that you are amazing and you're on the right path and you're a good person.
Okay. Oh, today I'm emotional. I don't.
And I love you, obviously.
Love you too.
It's one thing that I find quite pleasing to watch. It's the first time I meet both of you. It's that I see two beautiful people growing up together. Like you're becoming a real man, she's becoming a real woman, and you're doing it together.
Yeah.
Which is more responsible. You are more free-spirited, and now you're free-spirited, but with children, and she's growing as a person. And she said, you know, I'm trying to be better. Like this is a beautiful thing, growth. If you can level each other up, I think that's a good relationship.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why like I said before, the friction is often a part of it, which is why I wouldn't change the way things have been, even the difficult parts and stuff, you know, because I've grown in myself and understood myself more by understanding her, and developed a large amount of patience, which is what I always credit her. She made me a very patient person, so that's good.
Be more patient.
A little bit, yeah. In comparison, I'm still more patient. I still have more patience to earn, but yeah, she's helping me with that day to day. So yeah, it's been, and it is continuing to be, yeah, like you say, helping me develop as a person. She's developing as a person, and we're growing together. And we still have a lot to do. We're still very immature a lot of the time, but
We're so much better than we were.
we're doing well. We're good for each other.
You don't want to lose that completely too, you know?
No, yeah, exactly. I don't think there's any risk of that happening anyway. No, be like, oh, I'm mature. Oh, what do you know?
Like 80 years old.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Nice.
Die immature.
Final one for Liam. I think, yeah, it's stuck together, yeah.
Okay. If I were to die before our kids grow up, and then one day when they're older, they ask you, Mama, please describe our dad to us, how would you describe me?
Look in the mirror. I think, first of all, God forbid, but I think our boys are a lot like you, both of them. Like when I see them, I literally see you. And I'm not talking about, you know, the way they look, their personality, the way they are. They both have, like, both of them have like one part of your personality, but like, you know, like amplified. So yeah, I'll tell them that you were I'll tell them that you were very kind. You had a big heart. You were very funny when you wanted to be. Sometimes you had horrible taste in music, but you were still.
It's amazing.
No. But you were the best man that ever, you know, came into my life, made it better. And you would have loved them so much. You play with them all the time, and well, you would have played with them all the time and spent all the time with them, and you wanted to teach them so much. And yeah, I don't know. I don't want to cry. But
It's okay.
basically, I'll tell them that they are like you, because I know they're going to grow up and be like you.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
And a little bit like you.
Yeah, Kian maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you both have this is just, of course, a hypothetical question, inshallah. It's nothing, but it's meant to give perspective, give appreciation, make you love each other 2% more by the time you leave this room. I think it's important. Death is inevitable.
Yeah.
And we just ignore it until we lose dear ones. But the idea is, as long as they're there, and inshallah for long, healthy, like you want to see your kids grow and be beautiful, and you're proud of them, and they're graduating and they're fighting, and you want to see all of this beauty and be good humans, you know, good people. So in this journey, you want to cherish. And I saw a nice, very sweet video between a father and a son that I sent to the team. And they were also sitting. And the father was apologizing to his son. He's like, I know I was always busy. Money can always be made, but the time with you cannot, because you grew up.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that was the guy. Yes, he's successful and blah blah blah, but he missed out. You miss out on the football match or the birthday, or just once a week pick him up from school and take him for ice cream, like things like that. And then of course you don't forget the children, but you focus also on you two. You continue your date nights. Doesn't matter. You have 50 kids. Date night is there. Your mother can take care of the kids, no problem. So that's the idea of these questions. They're not just there to bring emotions only. It has to come with a intention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely good though to think of things in relation to the inevitability of dying one day, because it puts everything in context. You think that everything is limited. And there's my favorite book is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
I'm reading it now.
Yeah, it's great.
Actually.
I've read it a lot. And he says, just imagine, to paraphrase, imagine that you're dead and then you wake up and you're given the rest of your life to live it. How would you think, like, okay, if I were to die today, what would I regret not doing? What would I regret missing and everything? And then that's what you focus on. It's basically all there is. It's all you need to do. You think, I wouldn't want to die today because I don't get to see my kids grow up and influence them and do these things and learn these things and experience those things. And yeah, so I think it's a really important reminder, definitely. I think a lot of people try to shun the idea until it becomes the forefront of their mind, and then they get upset by it. But I think that it helps put everything in context.
Absolutely.
You learn what's important,
For
definitely.
sure.
Well, thank you both.
Thank you so
Fail
much.
Asuf.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was awesome.
How was it for you being on the first time, like the dynamic?
Yeah,
That
it was
was-
great.
that was
really
great.
good. I think you got a lot out of us.
Yeah.
It was good.
What did you
and-
think?
I think it's, I want to choose the right word. There is such a sweet energy when I sit with you.
Oh, that's nice.
There's a sweetness, it's like if I can taste something sweet, like a really good fruit, it's
That's
your
cute.
relationship is something like that. Like I see it, it's playful, makes me feel youthful with you, and that's you want your kids to feel like they can be kids around you, and they can be, and your friends can be silly, and if you can. If we could share more of that energy in the world will be way better. If people can just make people feel, childish and fun, and we don't lose that beautiful spark we had as kids. We just become too serious and morbid while we grow up,
Yeah.
And it's not nice. We're programmed to think we should be that way. But it's nice to be silly and laugh and kiss and hug and jump. So I think I get that, between. I think so far from a very, very limited view of both of you, I just can sense things, a limited sense. But I think you kind of have cracked a healthy approach to partnerships and marriages, and it's working. And inshallah, as long as both of you are happy, I want you to work it for many years to come.
Inshallah,
But
for
it's
sure.
a healthy balance, and I think the best thing out of today's episode is giving the audience another angle and another perspective on how to approach healthy relationships, because all of them are thinking, shit, from the first moment I didn't fall in love, or that's craziness that I saw and then slumped. Why? Because of values. Before we talked about core values and things. So I think it's very healthy what we did today.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy with it as well.
Me
I was
too.
telling Abeer on the way here that I won't say anything because I think it's expected. I won't put something in a certain way, but I was just honest. So it was
Yeah,
nice.
it was great.
That's all I can ask for.